Hey everyone, welcome to the next edition of E-commerce Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Scott DeGrossier, founder and CEO of Wicked Reports. Today we have Josh Marsden with us. Josh is an e-com serial entrepreneur, international best-selling author, and the owner of the ARM5 Formula company. He's also a Wicked certified partner, which is a especially prestigious designation he has. Josh has helped scale some e-com companies to 7 to 9 figure valuations in 1 to 2 years on average. He does this with done-for-you mentoring, the ARM5 Formula Accelerator, which we will be talking about, and done-for-you partnerships. So Josh, welcome. I've known you for a while. Glad to have you on the pod finally.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Scott. I appreciate it, man.
So let's get into it right away. So brief background, which I gave on you, but what are like your typical clients, their tech stack and ad spend? Where do they come to you? What state are they in? What are you helping them do?
Yeah, that's great. We typically work with e-commerce businesses selling physical products. It's kind of a wide range as far as where they're at success-wise, but ideally they have sales. They've had at least 20,000 per month, and their ad spend budget is at least 2,000 or more. And that's really for the done with you side with our ARM5 Formula Accelerator mentorship program. With the partnership side, where we partner with companies and basically run their entire marketing, their advertising, those companies we're, as you can imagine, we're a little bit more picky in who we pick on that side. And we really try to work with companies that have had legitimate success, that also have ad spend budgets they can really put behind scaling and growing the brand with our help. And so those can be much more in ad spend. That could be more like towards 20,000 to 100,000 per month in ad spend.
How did you get involved with scaling e-com companies, doing all the fun? I mean, there's so many different pieces to the funnel. I know you guys do a lot of different pieces well. Like, how did that transpire?
Well, it goes all the way back to 2013. I think you and I met 2014. And I started more in automation, more in Infusionsoft. And when I first got started, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was like new to being a business owner and being a freelancer basically, and working with companies and making my own money. And at that point in time, I was building out workflow automation plus marketing automation. And I really even though I could figure out the workflow automation systems that I was building based on the requests that I was getting from clients I had at the time, I really flocked more towards marketing because I had a performance-based background in everything I was doing prior to that, in sales management, et cetera. And so that really gave me a lot more passion. And so I eventually just went towards that. And so 2013-14, I started working with e-commerce companies, and I had some great results with a few companies early on too. And I was just running their email marketing and their automation, their SMS marketing back then. And then since then, it just evolved into funnels and doing copywriting, doing design, doing development, and then also making sure that the automation set up to really support those funnels with emails and stuff like that, and then doing split testing and optimization. And then I had a friend who was a business coach also. He recommended to me back in 2016 that I should add on doing ads with funnels, because at the time we were selling funnels for about 10 to 35,000 upfront with a management fee afterwards as well. And so I added on then ad services and really trained myself on Facebook ads and all that good stuff. And after that, just we basically kind of stacked the services that we offer from there, and we started to. This actually leads into why we have now the ARM5 Formula company, because it really led to us really seeing there was a consistent process and a consistent system that e-commerce businesses need to be able to maximize their ROIs from their ads. And it was really a combination of content marketing, funnels, websites, emails, ads, SMS, doing all that very, very well to a high level. And so we actually started delivering that on a consistent basis over the last several years in what we call the ARM5 Formula, which is my trademark system and process for scaling e-commerce businesses now. So that's basically the long story in short. That's how I got started and how I led my company into where we're at right now.
So this focus on e-commerce clients, I mean, a lot's been a pretty chaotic past year. for everyone for a lot of reasons, e-com challenges as well. What are they struggling with most right now?
That's a good question. I think that it's not relevant to the times necessarily. E-commerce businesses, depending where they're at, like let's just talk about maybe the newer ones that are making less than 20,000. Typically, they struggle with marketing knowledge, tech knowledge, just knowing how to do this stuff because that's not what they are. They're not traditionally marketers getting started. They've got all sorts of different backgrounds, and somehow they got into e-commerce and they've had some success. But there's a gap there that they don't have, that they're trying to fill in some way. And whether it's books, courses, mentorships, obviously I have a mentorship program, but that's those companies. That's what they struggle with. The companies that are doing more volume, they really struggle with just getting more done faster and being able to really review their business consistently and be able to see the patterns, to see like what's working best, what isn't, to be able to really make those shifts in their marketing and their advertising to see the biggest gains. That's where they struggle the most, is just those specific areas typically. And that's why I've worked with those companies on more of a done for you side over the last several years, because they need help with bandwidth. They need help with strategy. They need help with analytics optimization and getting better performance out of every dollar they're spending on ads. And they want to obviously scale that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everyone needs help with analytics. That's why we exist. So with your ad buying, when you do ad buying for people, how is it one specific channel, multiple channels? How do your strategies differ if you are doing multiple channels, which I believe you are? How do you break down the different approaches like Facebook versus Google versus, some other social channel?
Yeah. Yeah, we do omni-channel advertising. I actually highly recommend every company is doing an omni-channel advertising strategy and not overly relying on one channel, especially like Facebook, for example, just because of the iOS 14 updates. So we do handle all that. And how we approach it is we do research. We go through a very comprehensive planning phase before we even do anything with the company. And we really figure out who their market is and where we can find them and what are competitors doing to have success as well. So this way we can really formulate what's the best attack plan, what's the best channels for us to really, really focus on and to use their ad spend budget towards. And then, after that, it's just a matter of ongoing management and analytics and making changes based on analytics. Wicked Reports is phenomenal for this. Your software, for example, allows us to really see with clarity what is working in a business that we're managing and what tweaks we can make to be able to optimize and maximize the ROI that they're getting from their ad spend, because your system allows the data to be so granular and also so accurate. And then, of course, you've got the attribution models, which I know is a more advanced topic, but those attribution models help as well. And so that's how we're able to really get some significant results with those companies that we're managing, is by really diving into that aspect of the business and delivering on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Iteration is not a sexy topic, but anyone that's achieving success is you come in with ideas that will give lift on a brand if they just have terrible marketing or completely overlooked some obvious thing that works. But then when it's like month 2 or 3 and it's like, how am I going to keep making the client happy? You got to iterate on what you have, which is more of a methodical. It more means processes and operations and less about a whiz bang idea necessarily, which people don't always like to hear. But I mean, iteration, I always feel like it's a relief because it means it's achievable. It's iterating and improving each month, not necessarily you need a eureka bolt of inspiration for a new ad. Yep. So it was nice to hear you also echo that. So I know 100%. Part of that is like landing pages. So first with e-com, I mean, a lot of times e-com, they just drive traffic to their store. Maybe that's where you're already helping them to be like, hey, there's more to e-com than just driving to buy now. Do you use landing pages in e-com? And if so, talk about some of that, some of the pros and cons of just going to the store versus landing page. When do you use each and all on that topic?
Yeah, no, I love this. I love that you brought this up actually, because I'm very much a funnel guy. Like I'm not a e-commerce guy in some respects, because I used to do funnels for more than e-commerce at one point years ago before I really niched down into e-commerce in 2017. I feel like that just about every single e-commerce business needs an actual funnel, not just their site. Best practice is to use a funnel for acquiring customers and not your website. And then use your website to get your customers to come back and purchase more after they've become familiar with your brand, they've seen value from your brand. But
I love it. I love it.
yeah, you lose people. You lose people on a standard e-commerce site. There's too many distractions, too many links, too many directions. And the whole point of funnel and the beauty of it is that it's a focused path that you have influence over way more than an e-commerce site with all the links that an e-commerce site has and all the products that a typical e-commerce site has. You can get very, very specific with your messaging that leads people, very specific with your messaging in the funnel. You can have very specific targeted offers in the upsells and the downsells. And having that type of control over your metrics and influence over your metrics makes such a big impact to acquiring customers from paid traffic, where you need to maximize the conversion rate and the average order value to be able to strong ROAS from your advertising. So every e-commerce business, in my opinion, has to have a good funnel in place for customer acquisition.
I totally agree, because the time from the click to the sale, if it's greater than 7 days, Facebook loses the trail now. And it's likely that happens. We run analysis when people come in on it from CRM create to sale date. And then some of these e-commerce people, well, I don't really do lead gen. I'm like, okay, well, you got a Klaviyo and there's X people in there that are before that didn't buy. So you are doing lead gen, whether you realize it or not. Let's just run math on them, knowing that there's clicks prior to them showing up in Klaviyo. And it ends up being always greater than a week that it takes to cross over half of your sales, which means, okay, over half of my sales are Facebook's not equipped to track. So that means what I need people that act in that reality with the strategy you mentioned are just that much ahead of the people that don't. It's just, there's another edge you have. You're looking at the whole picture and the reality of what happens, not what you think or want to happen. So I've always been, our poster child was Get Maine Lobster, and it was capture leads with a simple opt-in that was hideous and then redirect them to the page they were going to buy on anyway. And then you've got the lead to retarget if nothing else. Or they buy and they go, okay, I unlocked access to my coupon or whatever. So given that you're doing the funnel approach, then how does it top of the funnel versus middle versus bottom? How do you define those for you with e-com, and how do you approach each differently?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that question too. Because that really mirrors our ARM5 Formula process that we've seen working so well to maximize ROAS with e-commerce businesses we've worked with over the past several years. Because part of it is the authority piece, which is that A in ARM, and that's top of the funnel. And we really maximize top of the funnel by creating really, really good research-backed, well-written, valuable content, blog articles, and amplifying the attention of those blog articles with Facebook ads traditionally. So this way we can get a lot of people into the top of the funnel with a 10 to 20% on average percent of a client's ad spend budget. This way we can get a lot of traffic at the top and really educate and nurture people on the brand that we're representing. And then we can obviously retarget them down the funnel. So that's a big part of our process. And that's the top of the funnel. Middle of the funnel typically are using acquisition type funnels for acquiring leads and customers. But we also sometimes do just lead gen funnels like what you did with Get Maine Lobster, where we're just driving people to some sort of lead gen offer just to get them into the database so we can follow up with them. We do that as well, where we're stacking, different lead gen offers to really be able to maximize that traffic at the top of the funnel and convert them in the middle of the funnel into leads. So we do that quite a bit as well. And then bottom of the funnel, retargeting with ads, because those are going to be high ROAS activities, plus driving people to promos consistently throughout a 12-month period, driving people to special customer-targeted, customer-focused offers that are monetization-type offers to really maximize our customer lifetime value, and just really nurturing our database too, on that level as well. So that kind of describes our overall top, middle, bottom funnel approach that also mirrors what we do with the ARM5 Formula. So
then within that funnel, you're going to get people that will opt in but not purchase. Then how do you tie in the email messaging, like do you guys do the copywriting, and then any specific hooks or offers or things that you try that have better success than more in ecom?
Yeah, no, we do. I mean, I'm very thankful that I have this relationship, but over the last 6 months, I've brought on, in my opinion, one of the world's top copywriters into my team, Kevin Hill. He's done over 400 million in sales through copy. He used to work for Russell Brunson, GKIC, Dan Kennedy, a bunch of others. And so he handles all of our kind of copy, at least from a review perspective. We have some other copywriters as well. He handles the bulk of our copywriting. And so we're doing ongoing email marketing, sometimes even on a daily basis with some of the brands that we work with. And we're tracking everything as far as open click-through rates and sales too, through Klaviyo, just the effectiveness. So this way we can really pinpoint the hot buttons that we're pressing. And we're doing that on a consistent basis, in addition to having automated flows built out in Klaviyo or ActiveCampaign traditionally, to be able to also get people to come back to their cart, for example, if they abandon the cart, or to immediately upsell them with an additional offer if they don't take advantage of the upsell offer that we make in the funnel or on the website. So we're definitely handling all that aspect as well.
So with IDFA, Apple comes out, Apple, Facebook, all the right to track stuff. How's that thrown things for a loop for you guys, and how you counteracting it?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it's been like a very hot topic all year. Just about, I've been basically kind of redirecting each of the brands and clients we work with, and also coaching clients I work with, and just really recommending to them that they have an omni-channel approach. For one, this way they're not overly reliant on Facebook for getting leads and getting customers and getting ROAS from their ad spend as well. Besides that, I've been really recommending, especially to the companies that are really ready for it, I've been recommending sophisticated solutions like Wicked Reports. This way they can get their tracking taken care of and get clarity. And in my opinion, it's really a no-brainer. If you're spending at least 10 or even 20,000 a month in ads, I think you should have a Wicked Reports. If they don't have that, then what we're doing is we're using a lot of offline conversion data. So we're uploading a lot of sales data that we get, the brands or the clients we work with, into Facebook to be able to at least have some visibility on the people that are being advertised to on Facebook, and also to train the pixel and the algorithm to work in our favor as well. So we've been doing that fairly consistently now too. So those are some of the things that we've been doing. We also have set up like zaps between, say, Shopify and offline conversions too, to be able to do that same thing. If the manual process isn't something that we need to do, we'll just do it automatically instead. It just depends on the client and the brand that we're working with. But those are some of the things that we've been doing to really, really be able to still get really, really good results from just Facebook and ads in general. And it's just a matter of just really, really paying attention to the data and using, the data that we have access to, whether it's Google Analytics or whether it's Wicked, which I'd love for everybody to use Wicked, but that's not always the case, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just really just leveraging that data and just really making sure we make actionable decisions based on the data and what we're seeing in the results.
The top of the funnel, I want to talk about that a little bit more, just because it's such a challenge, just particularly now with the 7-day attribution window on Facebook. I mean, I know with Google, they have a little bit longer one, but still can be challenging. So what portion of the budget do you generally recommend? I know everyone's different, but just generically ecom, how much do you think has to go to top of the funnel? And then how patient are the clients on top of the funnel spend? Because sometimes it can take a little bit of time to bear fruit. What do you have to offer there for us?
Yeah, no, that's so true, I mean, but, it really depends on where the company's at, when they first work with us, and what their goals are as well. I mean, because, there's just different scenarios. Like, for example, if it's a company that has maybe $1,000, $2,000 ad budget, it's all about getting customers, getting sales. They don't need an awareness step driving people to content, because they just need to transform those dollars into customers and sales and profits. And so that's what they need to focus on. And so that just comes down to really, really good laser focused marketing, targeting the small percent of people in each market that are ready to purchase, and making them an incredible offer with good messaging and driving them to a high converting funnel. But then there's other companies that are more established that have ad spend budgets that are fairly significant, and they have already had some traction. They've already had some sales coming from their ad spend. Those companies, those ones have more liberty to move their dollars into really using about 10 or 20% of their budget towards awareness and driving people to content, which will build that middle of the funnel up and reduce cost per customer and increase ROAS in the process as well. There's a little friction sometimes with that because companies they don't want to lose sales in the process. They want to keep gaining. And so there definitely is that challenge of, okay, so when we take over like an ad account, for example, we really have to deep dive into what's been working and what hasn't really, cut the fat and really focus on the good stuff and do better than they've been doing. So this way, then we can then justify adding in that awareness. It will make a big impact to the ROAS across the board with all their advertising. So that's typically like the approach from a high level that we take when we have that situation where we really need to kind of redirect the ship a little bit to be able to maximize the ROAS by adopting the ARM5 Formula.
So last question here. What do you think in general, e-com customers marketing in this environment, what's the top keys to success for like the rest of 2021? What would you say like the must-dos that people need to act on? That's not an easy question. We can edit this out if you're like,
No, that's fine. I'll do my best to answer it off the top of my head. But I mean, for one, just plan in advance promos, don't be caught with your pants down, when a promo comes around, when an opportunity comes around. If you plan in advance, then you're going to be able to maximize the second half of 2021 with all the promo opportunities, especially with Black Friday and stuff like that as well. Also, to really maximize Black Friday, adopt this awareness strategy and having a top of the funnel strategy where you're publishing good, valuable content, you're driving people to that content, because the businesses that maximize Black Friday in December are the ones that have market awareness and have a significant brand in that market. I've seen that time and time again. We've seen some just ridiculous results Black Friday in December. I mean, I actually had some screenshots like ready to dive into, but I mean, for example, I'll just pull up like Black Friday. Like one year we were running a Black Friday for a company and they generated just under 330,000 just from November 28th to December 2nd. And they only spent $4,428. That's it. So that was like a 6,348% ROI.
Yeah.
And they were able to do that because they have the ARM5 Formula, because they're using that top of the funnel strategy to really build up their audience instead of trying to get every single ad to get customers. It's not about that. You got to use a true marketing approach, which is capturing people's awareness, educating them, building that trust, building that relationship, giving them value, giving them an incredible offer, turning them into a customer, and then maximizing the revenue from that customer and turning them into, brand ambassadors, that whole process. I would recommend that companies really, really build that top of the funnel now with 8% of their budgets. This way, when the holidays come around, they can crush it and they can see significant ROAS like what we've seen when we've worked with companies during the holidays. So that's a huge one. Besides that, just get really systematic with their marketing and their analytics and their optimization and really pay attention to it, care about it, don't neglect it. Look at your analytics on a consistent basis, see what's working, what isn't, make actionable recommendations to your staff, or if you're handling it yourself, handle it yourself. So this way you can keep making those gains throughout the year. So this way, when the opportunity comes to be able to make a ton of revenue because of the holidays, you have a significant budget from all those profits you could put back in to then turn that into even more money.
Well said, Josh. I love it. Thanks a lot for your time. And I'm sure people get a lot from this episode, and have a great rest of 2021. I'll see you at Traffic and Conversion Summit.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me, Scott. I appreciate it, man.